Yep. Would you like a seat or?
Yeah, forgot one actually.
Yep.
Not a bad idea.
Hi, I'm Michael, and then I'm 28 years old, and this is my 98 Toyota Spacio Remix. Well, I mean, I started driving at 16 in Grandma's 94 Laser. So manual Ford Laser, real sort of forgiving car to learn to drive in. I'd always liked cars, so it wasn't obviously, I wasn't into 90s Fords or Mazdas, but that was the first thing. My first car was a 88 JZX110 Toyota Mark II, so essentially a Japanese new Toyota Cressida. It looks exactly like a Cressida, except they had a 1G GE, which is the twin cam 6-cylinder. It was automatic, but that was my first car at 17, and from that became the project. It ended up in 2015 as a completely different looking car to what it was factory. It had a long nose made at home with friends, wide SSR wheels on it, boned with headers on the 1G, so it sounded good, looked good, and ended up completely unusable. Destroying cat's eyes, unable to get over speed bumps, just the works. Unfortunately, that sort of brought up the need for a daily. You can't really daily something that's 15-20 mil off the ground. And I mean, I'm a perpetual uni student, but even then you still need a reliable, usable car. So of course I got another one, exactly the same thing, a 89 or 90 GX81 Mark II. So the same car, but a hardtop, so the frameless door one. And that was white with a moonroof, and dailied it for a little bit, but yeah, 6-cylinder cars are not really good for dailying for a student. So sold that, didn't really do anything to it, sold that and got a K-car, a Daihatsu Move. A little L600 Move, which was auto, unfortunately, but pretty cool. Ended up slamming it, just pulling the springs out, cutting the fronts. It was an official K-car, it was a 659cc, electronic carb, little Daihatsu. And I did a few things to it. I put bus mirrors on it, clear headlights, clear tails, put it on these thin SSR wheels. So it looked pretty good. It was like fridge white, did red mud flaps. It just made it look ridiculous. And had that for about, I don't know, a year and a half, 2 years. But then I seem to do these cycles. I go big car, small car. And then I said, sick of this thing, it's crap on the motorway. I want another 6-cylinder. So got another X8 Mark II, except this one was a 3-litre, the MX83. It was Japanese new, it was absolutely mint. And did a head gasket on that because I bought it as a rolling body. Bought it as a rolling body without the head on it, did a head gasket, got it running, and had that for 3 months. And then the opportunity came up with my partner to get what I'd always wanted, which was a JZX110. So yeah, 1J turbo, a Verosa, which had been the dream car for, dare I say it, too long. But yeah, auto, 1J, started doing stuff to that, making it look like my favorite cars and magazines of times past. Yeah, I don't know if I want to incorporate this into the story, but don't meet your heroes. Yeah, in some respects. I mean, it was great, and you know, fastest car I ever owned. But yeah, there was just something missing. And towards the end of that first part of the Verosa journey, I ended up somehow getting a second one. So a Verosa, but this one being factory manual, having a crap load of stuff done to it. It's a pretty renowned car in New Zealand, considering I think it's the only factory manual one. And it was under 100,000 Ks, LSD, single turbo converted, or large single low mount turbo, HKS, ECU, all these parts on it. It was an absolute steal of the century. And that really should have been the car I'd kept until until I'm in the ground. But yeah, I don't know what it was. Old cars pulled me back, and I think because I started in something quite old, it sort of stuck. And these 1G Toyotas really stuck with me. So the Verosa got listed, as it does, and yeah, I swapped it for a A70 Supra, 3-litre turbo, so it's the MA70. And as much as I loved that, it was a swap deal for the Verosa, and that was the sort of way out, swap, because Verosas are not popular, even though they're turbo 1Js, they're hard to sell. And in between that entire Verosa journey, I think I had 3 or 4 cars. I had a Mazda Persona, which not many people know what it is, but full hardtop pillarless thing, looks like a Laurel, but front-wheel drive Mazda. I had a MS112 Crown, so a real boxy 80s Crown with fender mirrors, very similar to what I've got now. Yeah, so the Fun Cargo came along as a daily in about, I'd say early 2017. Actually, my partner, I had a gold one as a daily, so 1NZ, 1.5, brilliant dailies, I swear by them. I had this fascination with optioning out or getting high-grade variants of cars, and I noticed, I went through the catalogues for these Fun Cargos. I noticed, I'm like, crap, you can get one with 2 moonroofs. You can get them with all these, like a little AC inverter in it. You can get all these different things, all these pockets, and the list goes on. So I had a little hunt and found, Yep, there are twin moonroof fun cargos out there. That's the only option you can't really swap in. I sold the gold one to my brother, so for a while there was 2 fun cargos in the family. And the white fun cargo, which is the twin moonroof one, was a car my partner and I dallied for, and he's still got it, but forever. I did 80,000 plus Ks of driving in that thing, and so that thing got coilovers, it got these 17x7 SSR Vienna looking wheels, sort of LEDs throughout, all the factory options we could find for the thing. So the thing was the flame floor mats, everything. Do you know what a Toyota Will is? Yeah, so I had a Will VI, which is that's the stupidest looking one.
The Cypher.
No, not the Cypher. The Cypher is probably, it looks pretty silly, but the VI looks even worse. If the chassis starts with NCP, it means the suspension, engine, all that platform is the same. So the coilovers from the fun cargo went straight into the wheel. The wheels went straight on the wheel, and because the wheel's just a Vitz, just like the fun cargo, and it looked hilarious. I put all these decals on it that I had left over from my Pepsi car project, and that looked silly, but I think I only owned it 3-4 months. I can't remember what came next, but the Synos was not far after. So I had a manual 5E FHE Synos, probably the best car on gas I've ever had. The thing was getting under 6 litres per 100k religiously. The fun cargo could move just about anything you wanted. So I thought, all right, well, tall vans seem to be the answer to everything. Toyota tall vans, so 4-cylinder tall van with a huge tailgate, folding seats, and I thought, well, done a fun cargo. I don't know if I want to do another one just because I've done it. What else? I'm going through the list, and I thought, well, Spacios, they're based on their AE111 chassis. They're based on the Levin Corolla platform, and everything's the same underneath. So you can take Levin Torino coilovers, the IRS, which is kind of interesting. You can do the disc brake rear, but it's a tall van, so it's got that convenience and that practicality. And I thought, well, Spacio, that makes sense. Yeah, the 1.6. I mean, 4 AFEs is, I don't know, as good as they're meant to be on gas. I'm finding, yeah, I do need to do some work on it, because 9 litres per 100k out of a car this small is not sustainable. But it's not quite Synos economy yet, but I will get there. The practicality though, faultless. 5 people are pretty comfortable in it. From what I can tell, it will be as practical as the fun cargo, in the respect that the seats completely fold flat, and you've got engine hauling space, hopefully with the crane as well, because that's what the fun cargo is renowned for, moving a 1G or straight 6 along with the crane, along with the gearbox, all at once, and carrying a passenger. I do know a little bit of history about it. It's been in New Zealand, I think, since 05, and it came here with under 100,000 Ks, the typical sort of 7-year import. So more often than not, you'll find with dealers in NZ, they'll bring in cars once they hit about 7 years old. It's a sort of sweet spot with depreciation and still a new car relative to what we're used to. So yeah, it came in at approximately 7 years old, fairly low mileage, and from what I was told by the person I bought it off, it was owned by an older woman for the entire time who left it completely stock, and it shows. I mean, she looked after it somewhat. She smoked in it, but that hasn't persisted, which is nice. And you know, I began the whole clean out, pulling out the seats and stuff, and you're finding receipts under from these Japanese receipts under the carpet. You're finding a few yen coins and stuff like that. So you know, it had a few years in Japan where it got used, probably as a family car. It's a Spacio Remix, when the Remix was a grade released in '98, so not as they came out. The Remix sub-brand or Remix grade, so as far as I'm aware, there's a Starlet Remix, which often came out in this quite orangey colour with a two-tone sort of marbly plastic bottom. It's this four-wheel drive thing, and on the back it says "I love camping" on the little tray. You could get an Ipsum Remix, which I've never seen one, so I take it they're quite rare. And you can get a Spacio Remix. As far as I'm aware, there are 3 remixes. I don't know if, because this is technically a Corolla, so it is a Corolla Spacio Remix. I don't know if it goes much further, but what it means with the Spacio anyway is you had a choice of 3 colours. So this being 763 turquoise. Yep. You had the silver, which I think was just a 1C0, the standard Toyota silver. And you had the red, which is the one that the Mickey House Spacio came in as well, and the standard Spacio. And you had the 3 colours and all these little extras that came with it. So for a start, a lot of Spacios don't typically have painted mirrors. They've got black plastic mirrors, painted mirrors. You had a kit, all of them came with the body kit, the lip kit, one type of kit only, so it's the side skirts and the front lip, nothing on the rear. The rear on the Spacio, the aero on the pre-facelift is mud flaps, that's your aero. All the trims on the little bumper protectors, they're painted in body colour. All of them had wings, all the remixes had the wing, the body colour wing. They had one sticker in the middle of the back window that says Remix, and it's the only external identifier outside of the colour match stuff. You could dealer option them on the front, so this one had Bosch fogs dealer optioned, which they hole sawed the bumper and put these big Bosch fogs in there, which is pretty cool. They had a dedicated grille, so the grille was this different colour. All these little things that add up to, you can kind of notice that this is a bit weird. The interior on the Remix is this, They call it ivory, and it's meant to have this sort of European Mediterranean theme to it. And the catalogue for the remix, it's all in Italian. There's bits of Japanese, but it's all written in Italian, and they hark on about this highly Mediterranean sort of Côte d'Azur themed interior. You get these blue carpets. Like, they're actually blue, which is kind of weird. I think they dyed them, or I'm not sure, but they're blue with these checker blue and ivory floor mats. And then, yeah, the ivory seats, which I don't know, they're just this very 90s Toyota, I don't know, bus pattern. Yeah. Blue seat belts, you got the blue HVAC controls. That's all weirdly color coordinated. Nothing special about the cluster, like I know in the Spacio Aeratores, they come with an orange cluster as opposed to green. Still green. This one's been optioned with a TV tuner, GPS, a 6 CD changer, sort of decent dealer options in it as far as I'm concerned. All Spacios had privacy glass on the back, or sorry, all Remixes had privacy glass. What else? There's not too much else that identifies them, but the moonroof, so the moonroof's a big one with the Spacio, so it's an external sliding roof. It doesn't have any interior drains that go down the pillars, so the Fun Cargo had an internal slider in the back. These don't have any drains on the inside, they're a full external moonroof, and it means you don't get roof racks, but yeah, you get a huge roof with a inbuilt dedicated sort of spoiler on the front. And I'd never seen a Remix. No, I've been through a fair bit of auction history and stuff like B Ford and like USS and stuff like that, Goonet Kruber, or Goonet and Car Sensor, and you can't find a Remix that has the optional moonroof. So they're all hardtops, and I thought, crap. So not even in the catalogue. Usually the catalogues in Toyota cars, they will put the highest option on the highest grade. Yeah. It's pretty common. No moonroof on the Remix. And I thought, well, this is pretty special. So when I saw it on Marketplace, I was like, okay, this is up there, because everyone that's come up to me and looked at it thinks it's been resprayed. It's not a factory color, is it? It is. It's a very weird color, but yeah. So it's fair bit of provenance. I think even Japan side, they're quite rare, as well optioned as this. I mean, Remixes aren't that common anyway. Yeah. Spacios, they were released in 3 different seating allocations. So you could get the 2+3, which is this one. So all Remixes are 2+3s, that's pretty important. You could have the 2+2, which was the 2 front seats and the 2 back seats, which were on this really long sliding rail that you could have as much legroom as you want. It had a little flip up footrest. Yeah. Or you could have the 2+3+2, which was the, I guess, 3, 4, 5, 7-seater, yep. Front 2, the middle 2, which are 3 seats really crammed, off-centered. One was a child seat and it's got 2 belts, and then you had the rear 2, and 7 cup holders throughout. They all have the sliding tray under the seat, as far as I'm aware. This one didn't have it when I got it, but pick apart comes in handy at $5 a tray. Yeah, not too much else as far as stuff on them. They obviously, they've got a nifty little boot, spare tire, all these little pockets and trays and whatnot. I'm fairly used to 90s Toyotas as a whole, so I mean, I thought there'd be a few things that'd come up. I think the biggest thing that really shocked me was the economy. I wasn't used to 9 litres per 100k out of a 4-cylinder. I have a feeling, so my Synos in previous months, I spent a bit of money on maintenance, did a few things to really help it, and I noticed you can seriously drop that. So I think a little bit of love. It's been owned by someone who, while they maintained it, obviously anything extra in the oil change is sort of, it's not happening. So I'll work on that. I know that'll probably come right. Everything else I was fairly expectant of. I mean, I thought nothing's broken in it, which is cool. Nothing's not working, even AC, heater, everything goes. How do I feel driving it? I mean, honestly, a smile. It's just summarising a smile. I had this sort of, I don't know if I want to get too deep, but this philosophy with dailies of don't take them too seriously. I mean, you've got your car in the garage that you really committed to. You can have a bit of fun with them. So the Fun Cargo was a bit of expression with that. The Spacio is an extension of that, I think. You can drive down the road and feel completely hilarious in it. I mean, the size of the moonroof, the colour, like I've had more people comment on this of just what is that, or why is it that colour, and that sort of just reflects in your day, I think. Again, just this whole philosophy, you don't have to take it too seriously. I mean, I do intend to do stuff to it and, give it that look, but even as is, it's a completely normal Spacio, but there's something off about it. It's this wild colour with all these different things about it. Might do something funky with the outside, a few stickers, that sort of thing, but nothing too serious, because the second it starts becoming like that, then it takes away from the reason I got it for. Behind me are my 2 long-term projects. They're both GX chassis Toyotas, so they're front engine, rear drive, both 6-cylinder cars. The one off in the corner over there is a GX61 Toyota Cresta, which was the first generation Toyota Cresta, and it's in this colour called Gentle Toning. It's 2K2, so it's this green over gold two-tone, And it's quite a special car because there's not a lot left of them in Japan, let alone New Zealand. I think it's one of 2 registered in this country and the only one in that colour. It's factory manual, it's twin cam now. It's starting to look like a factory twin cam car with its digital dash and badges, but yeah, over time I intend to get quite a bit done to it. And the one on the other side is the model after, so call it the younger brother. It's the JZX110 model Toyota Cresta. So it was made a couple of years later, and its DNA is the same, but its look changed slightly. So it's got the frame doors, the lower roofline while being a sedan with the frame doors, which is quite interesting. But it's not. I wouldn't say it's as special as the 61, but it has its own history and story. It's quite uncommon in New Zealand as well. I think, yeah, one of 2 I know of, the other one being a diesel. It'll be single cam, automatic. It's deregged at the present, but once registered, hopefully maybe a partial daily, something like that, when I want to take it to uni and whatnot. So I left school, God, did I say 11 years ago now? So in 2012, first year out of school, I had this absolute dream, desire, calling to design cars, right, that fit into my hobby. However, when something around work fits into a hobby, it's this bit you gotta be careful with it. And it wasn't the calling I thought it was. I just like drawing cars. But I found out, yeah, no, I was pretty proficient with science. I liked it. A degree wasn't off the cards. And 2013 came along and I started a Bachelor's of Science. While I didn't catch it too quickly, I mean, the break, the year off really, I think, changed my habits towards studying. I did find my place. I did find what I liked. And yeah, I think 2014, 2015, I really found my place in earth science, which is probably more known as geology, but it's being rebranded now. So 2015, 2016, those were my final years of my undergrad. And I graduated and decided, I really like geology. There's certain elements of it that I love, and honours made sense. So taking it the year further, so the first year of postgrad, and that involved a research project where you conduct your own research and you produce a dissertation or a thesis and you submit it. What was my honours dissertation about? It used geophysical data, which is seismic data acquired offshore. So it's data showing underneath the earth or underneath the seafloor these huge transects, and I interpreted that data to produce a story for the offshore Northland region, be the Eastern Tasman. So I produced a model of what's happening or what's happened over the last 5 million years in that region, and yeah, and then that did quite well, and it afforded me a fully funded master's thesis the following year. So that, yeah, my 2018 until mid-2019, it took me a year and 4 months. I got an extension, and that I did really well in that as well. That time I sort of caught the research cruise bug, so being able to go offshore and with NIWA and study while being at sea and acquire data. I did that over 2018, 2019, and seeing as I did so well there, then the opportunity comes up, more funded postgrad, so the option of a PhD at no cost, bar the cost of my time, which at 3 to 4 years you got to consider. But yeah, I mean, I was hooked. Realistically, I think PhDs, if you're doing what you want, it's not work.
It won't come through too badly because you've
That's a good sounder.
you got the mic. Yeah, no, we'll leave that in
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, so I mean, PhD I've been doing since March 2020, over the pandemic, which, while testing, I can work from home, and it really sort of blended quite well considering my entire doctorate is on a computer, writing papers, publishing research, and hopefully submitting a PhD in that 4-year window with my 3 papers out there and looking at a career in geology. Being a student has afforded me brilliant amounts of time to devote to cars, and honestly part of the postgrad buzz was that sort of self-directed time management, and I can't say I would have got nearly as far with mucking around with cars as much as if I had gone into work, if that makes sense. So especially now the crunch has really started, and I've noticed definitely a change in my productivity around my hobby cars versus how much work I do, but especially in my undergrad and first few years of postgrad, I noticed I was able to get a lot of hobby time in, and this work-life balance was quite suited to mucking around with cars, considering that, when you do things yourself, it really takes up time. And if you want to see more, GX of Auckland on Instagram. I don't delete posts. There's 1,800 plus posts if you want to go back and have a look. Huge catalogue of what I've mucked around with over the years, but yeah. I'm Michael, I'm 28 years old and this is my 98 Toyota Spacio Remix.